I only started seeing him after midnight, standing behind the vending machine across the street, always staring. It was during finals week. I was pulling yet another all-nighter in my third-floor studio, a tiny space with paper-thin walls and a view of a 24-hour laundromat across the street. It was one of those older apartment buildings just off campus. Not the safest, but it was all I could afford. The place creaked when the wind blew, and the heater made that ticking sound like something was stuck in the pipes. But I was used to it. That night, around 12:30 a.m., I stepped out for a soda. I didn't think much of it, just needed the caffeine to get through another 2 chapters. Rain had stopped, and the street was quiet, just wet pavement glowing under the flickering amber street lamp. As I approached the vending machine outside the laundromat, I saw him. A man. He was standing behind the vending machine, mostly hidden in shadow. Not using it, not doing anything, just standing. His posture was strange, sort of hunched, like he was trying not to be seen, but also wasn't trying very hard. His head was tilted slightly toward me, though I couldn't see his face, just the outline of someone watching. I froze for a second, then quickly pressed the button for a soda, grabbed it, and walked back across the street without looking back. I tried to shake it off, told myself maybe he was homeless, maybe just taking shelter under the awning. I didn't want to be paranoid, but the next night, he was there again. Same time, same spot, just standing. This time, I didn't go down. I watched from my window, the blinds cracked just enough. He stood still for about 10 minutes, then slowly walked out of view. Not toward the bus stop, not toward the corner, just behind the building where the alley was. By the third night, it wasn't curiosity I felt anymore. It was unease. He was always there after midnight, like clockwork. Never bought anything, never spoke, just loomed in the shadows behind that stupid red vending machine. I told my landlord. He laughed it off. He's probably just a loiterer. Cops won't do anything unless he's breaking in somewhere. Still, I called the police. They sent a car, but when it drove by, the man was gone. The officer knocked, took a quick statement, and said if I saw him again to not engage and just call it in. I could tell he didn't think much of it. My friends said it was stress, that I needed sleep. They joked that I'd been watching too many thrillers and had fried my nerves on caffeine and cramming. But I knew something was off. I felt it every night when I pulled the blinds shut a little tighter. Then, about a week into this, I came home from the campus library around 11:45 p.m., arms full of books. The vending machine was completely empty. Not a single can or bottle, which was weird. I'd never seen it fully restocked or totally cleared out. There was a sticky note on my door, pale yellow, plain handwriting. You don't look tired anymore. My blood ran cold. I didn't sleep that night. I left every light on and sat up on the couch, holding a kitchen knife like an idiot. Nothing happened, but every creak in the hallway made me flinch. The next day, I crashed at my friend Melissa's place across town. She insisted I was overthinking, but let me stay anyway. I was just starting to feel okay again when I got a text from my neighbor, a girl I barely knew who lived 2 doors down. She asked if I had been doing some repairs or something. No, I texted back. Why? She replied, your window screen's all bent. Like someone was trying to pop it out. I left Melissa's apartment and went straight back. My stomach dropped when I saw it. The screen had been pushed outward, metal frame warped, like someone tried forcing it out. I lived on the third floor. There was no fire escape on that side. No ledge. Nothing. Just brick wall. I called the police again. They took a report. The officer told me it was probably wind damage, but he didn't even sound convinced. That night, I installed a cheap motion-activated camera on my window. It faced the street. I angled it to catch the vending machine. I didn't sleep. At 1:13 a.m., the motion alert went off. I hesitated to check it. Something in my gut twisted, like I knew this was going to change things. I opened the clip. He was there, again, standing behind the vending machine like always. But he moved, slowly, deliberately, out from behind it, across the street, toward my building. Then the feed cut. I stared at the last frozen frame, his figure in the middle of the crosswalk, halfway to my door. I jumped up, grabbed the knife again, and locked every bolt and latch on my door. I didn't sleep at all that night. In the morning, I went to check the footage again, but the camera app said the last few clips were corrupted. That same day, I bought a new lock and started packing. I'd had enough. But before I moved out for good, I set the camera one last time, this time in the hallway outside my apartment, just to be sure. The last night I spent there, I got another motion alert. 1:13 a.m. I opened the video. The man was there. Not behind the vending machine. Not on the street. In the hallway. Outside my apartment door. Crouched low. Face close. Pressed to the peephole. No movement. No attempt to enter. Just watching. I moved out the next morning. I changed my number. Deleted social media. I moved 2 cities over and made sure no one but family had my new address. But here's the thing. Sometimes I still get motion alerts on that app, even though I stopped using the camera long ago. Always around 1:30. Always from a new user. No clips, just the notification. He never bought groceries, just pushed carts around and followed me to my car. It started about 3 months ago. I work as a nurse on a rotating shift, and after a 12-hour day, the last thing I want to do is stand in line at a packed grocery store. So I started going to the 24-hour one near my apartment. It's always quiet at that hour. A few night shift workers grabbing microwave meals and college kids picking up ramen and energy drinks. I usually park toward the back of the lot, under the light pole, near the last cart return. I like that spot. Fewer cars, easier to load groceries. I never gave it a second thought until I noticed the man. He wore a reflective vest and pushed carts slowly through the lot, not like the usual cart collectors who were fast and mechanical. He moved like he was pretending to be busy, like the cart was just something to give him a reason to stand there. The first night I noticed him, he was maybe 50 feet away, barely lit under the edge of the light. I had 2 bags in hand when I spotted him. He wasn't looking at the carts. He was looking at me. I told myself it was nothing. Just someone doing their job. I nodded politely. He didn't nod back. Then one night, as I loaded my trunk, he walked a little too close. He didn't say anything, just passed behind me slowly, his reflection caught in my side mirror. I felt that tightness in my stomach, the kind that makes your skin crawl before your brain catches up. I glanced over my shoulder. He stopped near the cart return, staring down at the handle of the cart like it was the most interesting thing in the world. I didn't look at him again, just slammed my trunk, got in the car, and left. The next night, I parked closer to the entrance. But when I came back out, he was there again, standing near my car, holding a single cart and doing nothing with it. That's when I realized he never went inside. He never entered the building. I'd never seen him talk to anyone, never grab a mop, never collect more than 1 or 2 carts at a time. I asked one of the employees about him. The young guy at the register looked confused and said, "You mean Jeff? He only works morning. You sure he works here?" That was the first time I felt truly uneasy. Still, I wanted to believe it was a coincidence. Maybe he was a contractor. Maybe he was just some loner wandering the lot. Maybe I was being paranoid. But then, he said my name. It was a Thursday. I remember because it was the first time I actually debated whether I should go out at all. I had barely anything in the fridge, so I decided to run in for just a few essentials. As I got out of the car, I heard it, low and deliberate, just behind me. "Alyssa." I froze, turned around slowly. He was there, maybe 10 feet away, not smiling, just watching. I blinked, stepped back. My mouth went dry. But when I looked again, he was already walking away, pushing the cart toward the far side of the lot, disappearing into the shadows. That night, I couldn't sleep. I called the store the next day and asked to speak with a manager. I gave them a full description of the man and asked if he was one of their employees. They put me on hold for a while, then came back and said they had no one on payroll matching that description, especially not at night. I filed a report with the non-emergency police line. The officer I spoke to was polite, but not exactly concerned. "If he hasn't threatened you or done anything illegal, we can't really do much," she said, "but we'll make a note of it." The next time I went shopping, I found a shopping cart pushed up directly against the driver's side of my car. Not in the return area, just flush against the door, like it had been rolled there, deliberately. I had to shove it aside just to get in. A week later, it happened again. This time, there were two carts, one behind, one at the front, like someone wanted to pen my car in. That was the night I stopped pretending it was just coincidence. I stopped going to that store for a few days. Started doing pickup orders at a place a few miles farther. But eventually, life got in the way. My shift ran late. My fridge was empty again, so I went back. But this time, I parked near the cameras, right under the main light pole, and kept my phone recording from the dashboard. The whole time I was shopping, my stomach was in knots. I couldn't focus. I kept checking the windows, rushing through my list. When I got back to the car, the lot looked empty. No carts, no strange man. For a second I let myself believe maybe it was over. That night, I watched the footage. At 11:26 p.m., just 4 minutes after I entered the store, he appeared. He didn't walk into the frame, he was already there, standing just outside the field of view, and then slowly stepping behind my car. He crouched low, his face illuminated just enough by the parking lot lights. He looked directly at the lens, just stood there for nearly a full minute, and then he raised his hand and waved. Not a fast wave, not playful. It was slow, careful, like he knew I was going to watch it later. That was bad enough, but what happened after made my stomach turn. When I got home that night, I found one of my reusable grocery bags, the red one I hadn't brought with me, sitting neatly on my front porch. I live on the third floor of a locked building. No sign of forced entry, no one on the cameras. The door wasn't tampered with. Just that bag, folded neatly, set in the center of the doormat. I moved 2 weeks later, changed my routine, stopped shopping at night altogether. I don't know what he wanted. I don't know how he knew my name or where I lived, but I think about that wave a lot. How calm he was, like it was a game. And I can't help but wonder, what would have happened if I waved back? I only realized someone had been watching me when I noticed the peephole lens was missing. I was on the road again. Another 2-night stay for work, this time in a city I'd never spent more than a layover in. I'm a business consultant, which basically means I fly into a city, help fix whatever mess the company's in, and fly back out. Not glamorous, not terrible, just a revolving door of lobbies and elevators and cheap hotel breakfasts. It was raining when I arrived. Not a light drizzle, the kind of downpour that drenches you between the cab and the lobby. The front desk clerk barely looked up when I gave my name. The lobby was quiet, the kind of manufactured stillness you only notice when you're the only one standing in it. I got my key, room 2014, and rode the elevator up, with a bellhop cart no one had claimed. The room wasn't bad, at first glance. Mid-range, dated carpet, a generic watercolor print above the bed. Slight musty smell, probably from the old wall unit, AC. I tossed my bag on the chair and started to unpack. That's when I noticed it, the peephole in the door. From the inside, it looked off. Not cracked or broken, just misaligned, tilted slightly, like someone had removed it and reinstalled it in a rush. I leaned in, squinting. The lens didn't quite sit flush. There was a tiny ring of black around the edge, and something about the way it caught the light made me pause. I put a folded towel over it, not because I was scared. I told myself it was just hotel negligence. but something about it unsettled me. The rest of the night was uneventful. I ordered takeout, watched some reruns on TV, and dozed off around midnight. But even with the AC running, the room felt colder than it should have. I chalked it up to wet clothes and bad insulation. The next morning, I left for meetings and was gone most of the day. When I got back, the bed was untouched. I had the do not disturb sign up, but a few things felt off, subtle things. My toothbrush was at a different angle. My charger was plugged into a different outlet than I remembered. And a pair of socks, the ones I'd left on the chair, were missing. I called down to the front desk and asked if housekeeping had come in despite the sign. The clerk said no. I asked again. Same answer. Around 2 a.m., I woke up suddenly. Not from a sound exactly, more from a feeling. That gut-deep alarm that pulls you out of sleep, even when you don't know why. Breathing. I sat up in the dark. The sound stopped immediately. I got out of bed, heart pounding. Quiet as I could, I approached the door. I reached out and gently lifted the towel. The peephole was gone. Not cracked, not broken, gone. Just a small open hole where the lens used to be, leading directly into the hallway. Then slowly, I turned off the lamp next to the bed. I saw it. An eye, pressed close to the hole. Not wide or surprised, just calmly watching. I stumbled back, grabbed the phone, and called the front desk. They said they'd send someone up right away. I stayed by the window, lights off, every muscle in my body tense. A few minutes later, I heard a knock. Security, a voice said. I checked the hallway through the side of the curtain first before opening the door. I told him what I saw. He did a sweep of the hallway. Nothing. No one. Just a quiet corridor with cheap carpet and the same overhead light flickering faintly near the elevator. The moment he looked at the door, he frowned, ran his fingers over the frame. Then he looked at me. This isn't right, he said. It's reversed. What? He motioned for the guard to go into the hallway. Then he had me stand on the inside again. The moment I looked through the lens from the outside, it was crystal clear. You could see everything in the room from out there, he said quietly. Whoever did this, they flipped the lens. Someone had removed the peephole, reversed it, and reinstalled it so they could watch guests from the hallway. I checked out the next morning. I didn't ask for a refund. I didn't speak to management. I just packed my things, hailed a cab, and left. But the worst part came 2 weeks later. I was planning another trip and casually browsing hotel reviews online. Somewhere in a Reddit thread about hotel red flags, I saw a post titled "Watch Out for the Peephole Guy." I clicked it. Someone described a nearly identical situation: reversed peephole, missing socks, small movements of personal items. The hallway looked familiar. So did the number on the door. Room 2. The same one I'd stayed in. The post ended with a warning. If you ever notice the peephole looks off, cover it, and never assume you're alone.